trying to open the door.
Come here, you. I got you. I got you. You look just like my little torta. You look like my torta.
Oh,
Actually does. He looks just like
air
torta.
conditioning. Yay.
You look just like torta. Don't you think? Looks like torta.
Except Torta has a stripe down his nose.
This one has a
I
little.
hope those people call you back. The one, there was a couple. Well,
It's mine.
let me make some room to sit down because I'm not ready to standing. Well, good morning.
So which one's which of these two?
Oh, please don't do that to me.
How do you not know?
No, I know them
These
all.
two look exactly the same. Actually.
One is Willie, and
One's
one is
William.
Peter.
Yeah.
Well,
I have no idea.
see, I'm one of the few who know Zara and Louise.
Well, they're
But
easy.
Pam
Louise
was
has
not
the white chin. Yeah, she texted me last night and I was like, Louise has the white chin. And then Zara has the all black face. That's the only way to tell, but
Let's just see who we are. I'm trying to try to.
you
Oh,
wise. I know they're
Yeah.
gonna.
no, they know.
There's no coffee in it, so it's okay.
Judy,
Yes,
did you bring those snacks?
Maybe.
Are you the one who brought those cookies?
yes, I
Okay,
am.
thank you.
I brought you cookies, honey.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Oh, wait,
We're gonna do an interview.
Oh, you're doing an interview?
Yeah,
Oh
what-
my God, hot toast?
See,
dose.
part
Oh my
dose.
goodness.
That's gonna be you,
Yeah.
son. Part dose. Okay, now as soon as I could eventually sit down.
I'm like adding German and I'm like, y'all.
Oh, we.
You
Okay,
want to see? Do you have it? Oh, you have the actual.
I have it, but let's see.
Do you want me to
'cause-
scoot over?
well, I don't know. I have a nice cam op who knows all about this. Oops. Let's just take a minute to get set.
Sorry for the shorts.
Way too hot out here. Yeah, but I value my, and see my socks? Those were brought from
That part I
Australia.
didn't. If they just keep the camera here, oh my god.
Let's see.
It is way too hot for me to wear.
It
pants,
is
so
hot.
Sorry, you're
and
just gonna
it
have to
is
deal with
dry.
my.
Let's see
my
once I
very
sit down and they can
stuff.
find you. And here we go. Okay.
So you have the cam live. I don't know.
Yes, I do. It's kinda-
feed.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is part 2 of Cynthia. This is Cynthia, the foster coordinator, who has graciously agreed to do another interview. I won't go into too much because last year we did an interview where we learned a lot about Cynthia on a personal basis. And I asked her to come back, and she wanted to, for a couple of reasons. I want to update our foster program, which, as you know, is like, what, 90% of our cats?
Yeah,
95?
90% of our cats are in foster care, and about 10% are here at the sanctuary nursery.
And she is also involved with the Project Journey Home
Yes.
Transport, which I am very interested in. And we had one go out, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago.
No, I think it was 1 week tomorrow, or
Oh.
no, 1 week today.
Okay,
It was
where
last week.
4 of my very dear friends from the nursery went up there, the fabrics, and you
You're
can
the
just,
mighty one.
can you tell folks, just to show you how successful the program is before we start, what happened to my fabrics?
So we sent them up on last Tuesday, and they arrive in the evening, and so they get checked in and fed and everything, and cat adoption team actually does their intake the following day, so they're not officially like in the system or even available for adoption yet.
Mm-hmm.
So Wednesday, they did the intake for everybody. They do a medical check. They get either they'll take photos or they'll at least get them on their website, and then they put them on the adoption floor or get them ready to send to one of the offsite locations. And that evening's adoption report came through. I get adoption reports on a daily basis.
Oh, good.
And 3 of our kittens were already adopted. So less than 24 hours, they were available, maybe like 8. For actually being seen, and 2 of the fabrics and one of a little black polydactyl that we sent was adopted.
Oh,
And now we sent 14 and 8 already adopted within 1 week, which is
okay.
amazing.
All right,
Very
so
exciting.
what I think I want to do is backtrack, and because a lot of people, and I've showed the video that you gave me several times, and folks are really interested. And
The
you
mighty
want
one.
my water, so we'll sit
It's
here.
a mighty one.
Can you take us through how Project Journey Home
Yeah.
Project first began, how it works, and how you are involved.
So the official name is Journey Home. It was a name that I think Sandra came up with it. We had like a list of like 20 names to pick from. So Journey Home is the one that we settled on. It's officially just the Transport Program. It's the Journey Home Transport Program. And again, it was kind of a brainchild of Sandra's. And I'm not sure where she got the idea. Obviously, there's a lot of transports that happen nationally, especially with dogs. And I think that's what she noticed, is that there's a lot of dog transports and just not that many cat transports.
I know one of our adopters, Jamie's, who took Pearl, also got a dog later that was transported from Texas.
Yes.
So it's quite common.
Yeah. So there's a lot of transports, and realistically speaking, it's a little easier to transport dogs. There are a little bit more options for dogs, whereas cats, for whatever reason, there's not as big of an adoption push. It's definitely changing. There's more and more people looking to adopt versus I just happened to find a cat. You go back 20 years or so and ask people, how'd you get your cat? And they're like, oh, it showed up on my doorstep. Like, people didn't go, oh, I went to the shelter and looked for a dog, or I went to a breeder and bought a cat. There was a lot more of just, it showed up and now I have a cat. Whereas with dogs, there's not like, well, it showed up on my porch, so I kept it. There's a lot more of like, I went and I adopted it, or, my friend was trying to place these puppies, or, there was a lot more of just that mentality of adopting dogs. So there's a lot more transport of dogs, and not as much transport of cats. And we're looking at our city shelters here, and we're going, they're putting down healthy, adoptable, friendly cats, because we have an infinite number of cats and a finite number of homes. So there's just not enough homes here in Los Angeles for them. And they're great cats. They're healthy, they're friendly, they're playful. Sometimes they come down with basic stuff like a cold that's really easily treatable, but at the shelter, that's a death sentence. The second they start sniffling, they're
redlined, or what is it?
It's called red listed, is when they're on the could be euthanized at any point list. The medical list is called blue list, which are anything that gets a cold. They may or may not be on the red list as well. It just depends. And I don't want to like put our shelters down, because there are a lot of really, really awesome people who work at the shelters. I work very, very closely with them, pulling cats, rescuing cats, and especially the New Hope coordinators at North Central and East Valley. Veronica being like one of the most amazing people out there. Kitten Rescue honored her a couple of years ago at our fur ball. I forget if it was 2 years ago or 3. And she does like everything she possibly can to buy extra time, especially for underage kittens. She is working all the time to try and help. Because it's not that our shelters and the people that work there don't care, or that they just are like, kill it, it's got a cold. There's literally not enough space. And when Veronica has called me to see if we have space, and she's like, I walked in after the weekend and I literally tripped over cats in this room. This isn't a cat room, but it's full of cats. They're stashing them in like every place they possibly can. So they're trying, but the reality is we just have too many. And so we can only take in so many in foster care. We can only adopt out so many here. And we're going, there are places where they're going, we have a very short kitten season, we don't have as many kittens, we have waiting lists, we have people who are looking to adopt. We can help place some of these really awesome, friendly cats that are getting killed. And that's the bottom line. And so, Sandra came up with the idea of, well, let's look at partnering with an organization that's, very, very similar to ours, that has the same sort of adoption standards, the same, general policies. It's going to be an awesome group. And let's send some of these cats that are just sitting around getting older. We've seen it all the time, where we have these great, awesome kittens, and they go up for adoption at 8 weeks, and then 3-4 months later, they're 6 to 8 months old, and they're still here. And we're like, why are they not adopted?
Exactly.
And it's not that there's anything wrong with them; it's we don't have enough homes. And whereas we send them there, and they're adopted within a few weeks, which is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's slightly frustrating, because I wish we could get our cats adopted like that, and sometimes we do. But, the reality is there's too many of them here, and there's just not enough.
Is it because we have a longer kitten season since our weather? Like today is the middle of October, and it's 90 and awful.
Yep, yeah. And there's still neonate bottle babies showing up in October. They're, 3, 4, 5 days old now.
I was in the nursery, and we have a whole bunch of new babies. Amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. And with Cat Adoption Team in Oregon, they have a kitten season. It's about 3 months long, and then it stops. And that's why they're able to take in cats from elsewhere. They also have more active TNR programs, and realistically, when you live in a place that has more weather, cats don't survive as long outside. They just don't. And so you don't have this massive stray population reproducing at this ridiculously alarming rate and just continuously, populating over and over and over.
So
But half of it is the TNR issue. Half of it's they also have a more pet-friendly rental community up there. Their environment, like you can rent and have pets a lot easier than you can in Los Angeles. It's almost impossible to rent and have pets here. There's pet rent and pet deposits, which gets really expensive. So cute.
Yeah. Sure does.
So that there's just this climate where they can place cats a little bit easier than we can.
So how did it?
Yeah, so we connected with cat adoption team through Jennifer Krause and Laura Cochran, who were both previous volunteers with Kitten Rescue, who now live in Portland, and they volunteer with cat adoption team. Laura Cochran is a vet who did the initial transport group for us. She actually comes to Los Angeles. She's known as Dr. Kindclaw. She comes back and does
she was the one on your video.
Yeah, she's really, really awesome. And they said, hey, we know this really great group. They do transports through the ASPCA already. They partner up and they've been taking cats from Los Angeles along with other places. They'd love to work with a really good, legitimate rescue. We know you guys would really connect and enjoy each other. And because they know Kitten Rescue's policies, having been previous volunteers. And I think they fostered for us. I think they failed for us, but I'm not sure. I think they kept at least one or two of them. They were like, let's put you guys in touch. And we're like, that would be fantastic. Having this personal connection is great. To have someone who knows our policies and what we look for in adoptive homes, and to say, hey, we know this organization in a different location who's almost exactly like you guys, like literally 99% the same.
Do they have a sanctuary, or is it strictly foster and they don't have like a place?
They are a traditional shelter facility, so they have a shelter facility with an adoption center. They do have a foster program. It's primarily for underage animals or animals who just aren't doing as well. But the majority of their animals are at the facility or at their offsite locations. They have, I think it's like 6 PetSmarts that they put cats at, and then they have this really awesome place called Purrington's Cat Lounge, which is a cage-free romper room cat cafe.
Purrington's Cat Lounge.
Purrington's Cat Lounge.
We might have to Google that.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. One of our cats is up there right now, Larry. Larry and Flan that Seth had. Flan got adopted with another Kitten Rescue kitty. They were all at Purrington's, which is a really great place for them to get to hang out and it's a big romper room, and people come in and they get snacks and they hang out with the cats. And primarily Purrington's gets like older teens and young adults. That's sort of what does best there is adult cats and then teenagers. So the kittens that we send are usually going to be on the adoption floors or go to the PetSmarts because they show really well there. And they get adopted.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there adoption rate from the PetSmarts and the Petcos? Would you say maybe a little better than ours?
Oh yeah.
Just because of the need.
Just because the and they're not the only game in town, but they're the big cat rescue there. It's in Sherwood, which is just outside of Portland.
Okay.
And there definitely are other organizations, but they're all a little smaller. Like Cat Adoption Team is the big household name up there.
So take me through from step one. Let's say you told me, I think next week or the week after, we're sending out a bunch.
We're gonna send a bunch.
Start me from who decides who's going, how many you need. That's what that's why you're here, my dear.
Yep.
Tell me, okay.
So basically what I look at when I'm trying to figure out who we can send is, first of all, they have to be cats that are friendly and outgoing and that can get adopted, because then we can send more. The second thing that I kind of look at is cats that are potentially getting overlooked here, that are starting to get older, that are just, for whatever reason not getting adopted yet. And also, if I send somebody's kittens, can they take more? Because that's what we need. We need to be able, the reason we're sending them is to be able to rescue more. So if we send cats from someone who's, I'm going to be done for 6 months, but I would have held on to these the whole time, that's not going to help.
So then more of them will come from foster than from here, would you say?
Primarily, yes, because we try to move them out of here by the time, not necessarily the spring, but like the nursery, we try to move them out when they're just weaned. So, but if they stay there until they're, you know, around 8 weeks, we might as well fix them and send them straight from there instead of trying to shuffle them into a foster home, because the reason they're still there is we're low on foster space at the moment. So we might as well, you know, send them on their way, put more kittens in the nursery, and save more lives overall.
Do they tell you this is how many we need this for this?
They
Are we
don't.
talking about ASPCA tells you?
No,
Or
it's cat adoption team.
Okay.
I arrange everything directly through cat adoption team, and then we let the ASPCA know, you know, when we'd like to send a transport, how many carriers we're going to need, and then they set it up for us.
Okay, so they're like the middleman.
Yeah, they're the physical transport part of it, and we do have a grant from the ASPCA to help cover some of those costs.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
They pay for all of the flight, which is actually very expensive.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, so they pay for all of the flight. Kitten Rescue covers all the medical. So all of the cats that we send to cat adoption team are completely adoption ready. So they're fixed, they're tested, they're microchipped, they're vaccinated, they're dewormed, they're flea treated, and if they're 4 months or older, they get a rabies vaccine because the airline requires rabies vaccines to fly because you are crossing state lines.
Sure.
It's just one of those regulations. Actually, if you look, even if you're driving, you're supposed to have one. But no one. It's not like we're border checking between our states. But technically, you're supposed to have rabies to fly a cat anywhere or even drive them. Like it's state regulations because they have different. Like in California, especially in Los Angeles, there's no rabies here. But in other parts of the country, there are.
Sure.
So it makes sense. So they have to have rabies if they're over 4 months old. And then they have to have a health certificate from a veterinarian that is certifying that they are healthy and ready to fly. And with that, we also do a wood slant test, which is a check for ringworm. So all of those things have to be done. That all costs a fair amount. So the ASPCA grant helps us cover some of those costs.
So if people wanted to donate to this wonderful program, maybe they could earmark it.
Yeah, you can just do a regular donation and just say Transport Program, and Sandra will put that in the correct column in the letters of where
Okay, so
where
let's
it's
say
supposed to
they called you and said we could use 8.
go.
Okay.
They usually don't. Usually what I do is they let me know when they can start taking cats, because they can't take anything during their kitten season because they're rescuing from their local shelters, they're doing their county shelters, and they have their own kittens that people are finding, and they have a spayed neuter program too, so that's really awesome. That's again why their kitten season is not as bad, because they have active spayed neuter programs throughout the city to fix cats, and like here where there's
so now our program is kind of starting up again, not because we didn't have any to give. They have enough
space
of their own.
Yeah, they have space.
Okay.
So when they have space, they say, hey, we can start taking regular transports from you guys. Just let me know how many you're going to have ready. We'll let you know what space we have. So like the last group, we had set around 10, then I ended up having 14. I said, hey, can you take, I have up to 14 ready. And they said, sure, we have room for them. I said it's X number of litters. So a lot of their space is more dependent on litter numbers versus how many actual cats. So if I say there's 4 different litters and it's going to be X number of cats, they go, yeah, we got 4 cage spaces to pop them into and in their intake, and then they can go out from there. And they can take more cats from us if they're enclosure ready. So if they're cats that can go straight to offsite because they get them adopted. So if they're like, hey, we get these cats in, 2 days later we can send them to PetSmart, Currington's, whatever. That gets them out of their physical shelter facility, opens up space to rotate more in. So that enables them to move them as well.
Okay, so then
Yeah, so I tell them how many I'm going to have.
Coming up.
Yeah, so we have one hopefully the 26th or the 31st.
Okay, so what are you so far doing without naming names? Or anybody?
No, I have a list of cats that these are not on the list yet, but they may be.
Can I ask you, I know you probably won't say, we have 2, and people have written to me about Ben and Cashew, who are almost, Cashew, as we know, will be a year old tomorrow, and Ben is
next month.
11 months old. What are the chances of them either going to foster, I'm kind of digressing, or getting on that plane?
Equal, I would say. The chances are equal. Right now, what cat adoption team can take are cats up to about 6 months old, and that's because they're still trained to do a lot of the adult rescue, and obviously, just like us, during kitten season, adults don't get adopted as quickly. So they have more adults in their own local area that need rescue, whereas as soon as we hit winter, they start placing the adults, and then they can take adult and teenagers.
So you might have some from the nursery that I know, like my 3 three little
the three
samosa
little black ones.
oh.
Yeah, the plan is to send them because they're old enough, they're getting fixed,
And they're wild.
and they're amazing. And you know what? Honestly, it takes us so long to place black cats. It's not fair. They'll get adopted up there super fast.
That's interesting.
One of those 3 kittens that got placed within 24 hours was black. You know, and just like if they don't care, they'll take cats that are ear tipped. Sometimes they can take FIV cats, which again with Ben, not only would they be need to have space for adults, but I would also need to let them know, hey, I've got this amazing, awesome, perfect, like cuddly snugglebug, super genius.
Yeah, we know so many
but
FIV
he's
cats, it doesn't
FIV.
matter.
And they take them. They just
Good.
want to make sure they don't have, say, 10 or 15 of them at once. They want to make sure that they're rotating their FIV cats over.
So they come and pick them up from the foster, or does the foster bring them to the airport? Or if they're coming from here, ASPC comes here.
So we had started this program in 2015,
Okay.
and at that time we were having all of us go to the LAX airport, which was really hectic and crazy and kind of scary. That's what's in the videos. We're at at the Alaska Airlines. They fly on Alaska Airlines. It's the only airline that we use. It's specific airplanes that can be used, not any Alaska airplane, because what they're using is it's an airplane that has a separate cargo section just for pets. So it's not in with the luggage, it's pressurized.
How
And
interesting.
if there's an emergency and it's needed, there is actually a way for the flight attendants to access that compartment in an emergency. Whereas in a normal airplane, there is absolutely no way to get to cargo no matter what happens. So this is separated. It's different. It's pressurized. It's almost like being in the cabin, but not. It
So
is
they
technically
fly
still cargo,
to
but
Portland.
yeah. So they fly to Portland, and then they get processed out of the airport from there. And cat adoption team picks up from the airport and takes them back to their facility. So here. So originally we were taking them to LAX airport.
Yeah, I remember
And then
that.
what we would have to do, as you saw in the video, is we would have to take the kittens and switch them into the flight carriers, which are provided by the ASPCA. And that works better than sending our carriers because they have regular shipments of their carriers back. And so, first of all, you have to find parking. And the cargo areas, there's no parking in cargo areas of airports. Like, it's not like going to a regular airport. You're in the cargo areas, so there's, like, no parking is horrendous, especially if you have 5 or 6 different foster parents coming, plus the ASPCA van, plus me. It's crazy. There's nowhere to do paperwork or anything, so if we need copies, the airport would have to do that, so it takes longer. And then, we're trying to do the switching inside the office when they moved the Alaska cargo office because of the construction at LAX. There was nowhere to do it. We had to do it in the parking lot, which is super terrifying and super unsafe.
Yes,
I'm not okay with that. So we had to shut down the program for a while to kind of reassess, kind of figure out, and also it's a lot of work. And it was taking up literally all of my time. I wasn't able to do what I'm actually supposed to be doing. So we had to kind of reassess. Now that we have Josh to assist and do some of the admin side of it, and to be on site to help with it, it's been a lot smoother. It's been really helpful. It's still a lot of work, but it's just that 10% less helps. And so we talked to the ASPCA and we said, we want to keep sending transports, but we would like to arrange to have you guys come pick them up from our sanctuaries. We have a facility. We can do all of the exits if they need last minute medical, say they need flea treatment, the foster wasn't able to run over to a med holder. We have all of that stuff here. We can do things on site. We can use the kitchen area of our office to switch the carriers, one foster at a time, nice and safe, calm, quiet, a lot more, protected. It's not as chaotic. There's no airplanes flying overhead and everything insane like that. And then they can just take them. And the ASPCA was also looking at using not just LAX but Orange County. And we're like, we can't be driving out to Orange County. Like, it's not going to happen.
What about Burbank?
Burbank doesn't. I don't know if it's not that. I'm not sure if it's that they don't have a cargo office or if they don't have the correct airplanes there. But for whatever reason, we tried. We can't use Burbank.
Well,
so
that
those
would be ideal.
Those were the options: the Orange County Airport or LAX. And so there's a really awesome transporter who. I'm not sure if he's. I know they pay him, but I'm not sure if he's actually like a staff member or if he's like a volunteer who just gets paid to do the transports. His name is Doug, and so he comes here in the mornings, and Josh is here to. Don't you want that? It's mine. Here, and he can make, Josh can make photocopies of everything. We have copies of all of it, which is really helpful, just in case anything gets lost. We have it all. And then they'll take them to the airport, send them on the way. I get an email in the evening as soon as they're at cat, settled in, they're eating, they're fine. They give me an update on how
That was my
doing.
next question. Do you get a follow-up
Yep.
every whatever day?
Well, I get the when they arrive, I get that email in the evenings of these ones are doing fine, these ones are a little freaked out, but we're working with them. This last group, they're like, there's a bunch of kittens that you can't even tell they've been on an airplane. I'm like, I bet you those are the fabrics. I bet you those are the fabrics. And they're like, woo, nothing happened today.
Another normal day in my life.
Whatever. I'm pretty sure those were the fabrics because she said there's some that they were so happy and just bounced around the plane. She's like, you can't even tell that they've been on an airplane.
Now okay, so they're all up there and hopefully getting adopted.
Yeah, so I get that update, and then they have daily adoption reports because they're getting multiple, usually 5 to 10 per day getting adopted.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right, it's a lot.
It's a lot of cats. So I get those reports, and what I do is watch for the names of our kitties. If they change any of the names, they let me know, so I can watch for the names.
Oh,
and then
okay.
every so often, I'll just email and ask and say, I hadn't seen these ones come through. And sometimes it's not on those lists because the adoption lists are put together by volunteers. And it depends on if the paperwork was processed. So say there was a last minute adoption that day, it didn't get on that volunteer report. It's not going to be on the next day report because it was on the previous day. So I just email and check in.
Is this group as diligent as we are in that? And sometimes they can't do the home check like we do.
The only thing they don't do is the home check.
Okay.
But they have an interview process, the application. They have if you're a renter, you have to bring proof that you can have pets. They do counseling so that you know all of your rights as a renter with having pets. So their screening process is very strict. It's indoor only, no decline. They will do single kittens, but they said it's very, very rare that they actually have someone take a single kitten. And most of the time, they said probably 90 to 95% of people that do take a single kitten come back within a few months for another one.
Oh, yay.
So and the reason we instigated that policy of not letting kittens go alone under 4 months is because of returns. We were getting a lot of unhappy adopters and returning cats because they were wild and crazy. They're not having that problem up there. So for them, when they do adopt out a single, they don't get it back. So obviously it's working out okay.
That's great. Now, because somebody asked me about getting them back.
Yeah, they do also, I'll talk about that in just a second. They do also, try to encourage people to take cats as singles that are going to do better as singles anyway. They're not just like, oh, it's cute and fluffy, sure, you can just take it. They do a lot of counseling and screening, and it's not just to, come up and, take the first fuzzy thing you see. They do a lot of matchmaking internally as well.
They've already, by the way, Google Purrington's Cat Lounge.
Yes, it's really cool. I'd love to visit.
Thank you,
I'd love to visit someday because I'd like to go see this stuff.
Well, we have to send Jamie's, who lives in Oregon, who adopted Pearl, back to Portland so she can
right? Yeah, go check it out for us.
Or meet the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and their director, I think it's director of operations. I think is Christy's official title. She came and visited Los Angeles, and she came to Kitten Rescue.
Oh, that's great.
So that was really cool. So we got to meet her in person, and she's amazing. She's awesome.
Now, somebody asked a question, and I wrote it down. If they are returned, I guess it means return from somebody in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go back to the shelter you took them to? Well, that would be cat adoption.
Yeah, it's a rescue.
Or do they come back to KR?
They don't come back to Kitten Rescue, but they certainly are welcome to. We did have a cat that we said not that got adopted in return, but actually just behaviorally decided to lose his marbles once he got up there. And they emailed us, asking could they reach out to the foster directly. They just wanted to find out what he was like at home and is there anything they can do to help him. And of course I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, we'll take him back if you want to send him. She was like, no, we've got some space. We'll work with him. It's okay. I mean, he literally was acting like a feral. They couldn't touch him. They got him adopted. It took about 2 months, but they got him adopted, and they actually decided to arbitrarily bond him to one of the cats from the same foster home, who was a year older, but they were like, they get along and they're friendly, and this guy's really friendly, so let's put them as a bonded pair and get them adopted together. They could have just adopted out the other one. They were 3 and 4 years old, so that's kind of a hard sell. A 3 and 4 year old cat, one is pretending to be feral, who's not. He's not a feral cat.
He just
freaked out. And they did,
great
spend lots of time with it.
organization.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Now, do you think this will...
And within a few days, they sent me update photos of the guy who had adopted them, and then a few days later sent me updates from him. And the cat was sleeping on his bed and purring and cuddling. He was totally fine. He just freaked out.
Will this go on all during our November, December,
Yes.
January?
Yep.
Where we would probably be sending, maybe not babies.
Adults. That as soon as they say they can take adults, that is our adult season, because
Would you say
we can
it's
start
about
getting them out.
every month, twice a month, every week?
Right now, we're doing about every other week.
Okay.
They can take up to 20 cats or kittens per time. The way that the airline does it, you can send 10 carriers max.
So
Each carrier can take up to 2 that are under 6 months old. So if you're sending all adults, maximum of 10. If
10.
you're sending all kittens under 6 months, you could do up to 20. Now, if it's an uneven litter number, one does need to fly solo. So
I remember you said
yeah, so that's why
in the video.
it's not so much like the number of kitties that they can take as it is the groups of litters.
Right.
And then it depends on how many carriers are getting filled. So I have to watch that.
That
as well.
must be, for you, a very hard job deciding
Yeah.
who's going. I mean, do you sit and look at your
Yeah.
foster people? Do you look
Exactly
at
what I
gear? Like, have you thought about these four?
Oh yeah, I have printouts of I print out every probably 2-3 weeks of the database that we have of every single kitten under 6 months, cat 6 to 2, whatever the 6 to 3 years. I print out those divisions and I sit there and go through all of them. So I'm watching who's getting adopted, who's not. You know, I check in with the foster parents. So I have I just have pages and pages of cats. And when I'm looking at transport, I start flipping through them and I'm looking at which fosters I'm seeing going out to adoption events. So who's actually showing their cats and who's not. Some of them it's because they don't feel like it. A lot of them it's because they can't. And that's, I totally understand. You know, we've got fosters that work on weekends. It's impossible to go to adoption events then. You know, or they have stuff with their kids and you can't just like, find your own ways, 5-year-old, good luck, like take the bus. You know, they have to go with them. You know, so and I understand that's totally fine. But I look at that and go, you know, they can't take them out. They may or may not be online. If they're not online, okay, we have to do something. So they're an ideal candidate to either go to enclosures or to the transport program. What I've been doing primarily is putting cats at the enclosures, and if they're not getting adopted within a month or so, send them on transport. Move the next ones in. We have 4 that are all from the nursery that are going to go on transport that are at Northridge right now. And they're going to move out to make for these guys.
Who?
Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, Snape, and Cappuccino.
Oh,
They've been there. They've been there for a while. They've been
I don't know
online.
how those two did.
They've gotten interest in nothing that's panned out. They're online. Like they're starting to get older at this point. They're
Okay,
beautiful.
so they're
awesome. They're affectionate. They're gonna get adopted so fast.
So those 4 are gonna go.
Yeah, so we're
my
gonna send
3
those
friends
4.
from the
The 3
nursery.
here. One of our fosters, Debbie, has what we call community foster cats.
Yes.
Which I don't know if the viewers know
You talked about
quite
it
as
in
much
our
about it. Yeah.
last
So just
interview.
recap, we have 2 sides of the programs, which is why we have as many cats as we have. Primarily, I'm sending Kitten Rescue cats, which are cats that KR is paying for. But for some of our fosters, they have community foster cats where they're responsible for the medical. But for fosters like, say, Debbie, who's a volunteer who does like a million things, I'm not sure why I think she CFs the cats because she doesn't want to add to Kitten Rescue's burden. I mean, she's an amazing.
Nice.
She donates, and I mean, she does everything. She's awesome. But you know, she asked if it would be possible to send her kittens. I'm like, of course. You know, for people like that where I know we have oversight and there's not going to be any major health problems or anything like that that's going to slip through, I have no problem sending those cats. And Debbie will take more for us too.
Oh, good.
Like whenever she's able. I mean, even if she didn't take cats, like she does everything. You know, so 3 of hers are going to go, and then we're looking at a couple also from the nursery that are currently in Scenes and Ranch. Norman, Dobby, and then Oksana is from the sanctuary. She's actually about 6 months now. And again, they were at Northridge, and then they moved, Oksana was at Northridge, and then she moved to Scenes and Ranch. Sally got
Norman
adopted.
and Dobby are just so
Dobby
cute.
might be getting adopted though.
Oh,
Thursday.
yay. Come
If
on,
he's
Dobby.
not adopted Thursday, but he's probably going to get adopted.
Good. Now,
And that
a
local
question about
adoptions
that.
always come first.
Oh,
So even if
obviously.
they've already got a health certificate, they're ready to go on the flight. If somebody is like 100% going to adopt them, they get
Then the
adopted.
person knows that they're getting help.
Yeah.
A question
It's
though
fine.
about that, because I don't want, okay, are we?
It's a lot.
No, I know
It is
there
a lot.
besides Portland, do we send anywhere else, or are there plans for us to expand?
We would like to expand at some point. Right now, we do not send anywhere else. We would like to eventually expand the program. Part of the reason we haven't is just because we need to build up a foster system in order to send more cats out. Right now, I'm usually looking for cats to send. I'm
You
like,
need
what
to
can we
build
send?
up
What
a
can we
foster
send?
system.
We actually
You just said.
we actually
Okay.
need more fosters, believe it or
Oh,
not.
fosters.
Yeah, foster parents and
You hear that,
people
guys?
who can bring them and send them and are okay with sending them. I'm guilty of that. I don't send mine.
That's right. And I know
I've
that.
considered it. I've considered it, but you know what? Also, I'm on the opposite side of town, and I do take in more whether mine have moved or not, and I will send them to enclosures and stuff and all that. But so far, I haven't reached a situation where I'm like, really, I should just send these guys.
Well,
So-
Cynthia has Torta.
But I could.
Who was one
I
of my
have Torta.
Mexican foods who I
have
showed.
the X wrappers. They're not wrappers anymore.
No, and also you don't have Kenny. Wasn't you with Kenny?
No,
I showed
Alma.
Kenny on.
Alma has Kenny.
Alma has Kenny.
Mhm.
I have a couple of quick questions, and then because I promised folks we wouldn't go for an hour.
We still might. It's okay.
But
Make
Okay.
2 videos. People can watch it
there you go.
themselves.
Okay, Pam, who took the
Zara and
the
Louise.
tuxies. Okay, and of course I saw her Saturday when she got the 3 adopted, which was
Yep.
incredible.
Also nursery kittens. We were going to either put them in enclosures or send them on transport.
I know. Now,
Adoption.
people
Much better.
asked, why Zara and Louise? Why not Zara and Beatrice?
It's a very, very easy answer.
Okay.
We have maybe possible adopters for, I believe it's Beatrice and William, where people expressed interest. I don't know if anything's going to pan out.
Now,
We
don't
haven't heard
fish her
back.
out, folks.
We haven't
please.
heard back yet. You know, it's one of those where like someone went, I'm interested in them, so we reached out to them. So instead of moving the kitten from here and then going, oh, well now they're over on this side of town. So one's a gray and white, one's a tabby. We were gonna have Pam pick up late last night, and may or not, we're like, the tabbies you can't tell apart. We had to scan them to know which one's which. The tuxedos look basically, the gray tux look basic. We're like, let's just make it really easy. Take the 2 that don't
girls.
look like the other, so you don't have to do, was it this one or this one that I was supposed to take, or was it?
Yeah.
It just made it easier. It was literally a decision made on, well, those are the 2 that look the same, that don't look like the ones that have interest, so just go with that.
And she mentioned on
That's
the
very
camera
much the
last
whole
night,
thing.
and someone said, hey guys, are you ready to go to a house with all black cats? And I
Yeah.
wrote, well, she got rid of the 3 colorful ones.
Her
Who's left?
her other foster kitten is a little black one who needs friends, which is why she took more.
Okay.
And then she has, I think it's 2, or is it 3 black cats of her own.
Oh, there you go.
I think
There's your
it's-
answer.
I think it's 2 black cats of her own. She has a tabby, Tabor, and then I know she has at least one. Wally is a big black fluffy one, and I think there's another. I think there's another one that's hers, and I'm forgetting its name. And then she does still have Bandit. Bandit's a tabby. She's like a 1-year-old.
Okay.
That she traps.
Do you think there'll be any chance, selfishly, here I am, that she will be at Westchester with Zara and
Oh,
Louise
probably.
Saturday?
Yes, she usually shows there. I'm gonna ask if she can come by because actually one of them needs a vaccine, so I'll do it.
Oh, and I will come over, and Joe, if you're watching, there'll be lots of pictures, lots of pictures.
And the first of the rappers should be coming out, so Cobweb will be there. He used to be
I know,
Do you
they
remember
changed
the
it.
rappers?
Yes, I do.
It's the
I heard-
bigger white with tabby.
You know what happens when I go, it could have been
I think it was Dre.
When I go in the
I'm sorry, I
nursery
didn't like
and I
those
take
kids.
pictures of them, people think, oh, she knows them all, because I take a picture of the
There's
name.
so many.
And then, so many. Okay, last question. How many fosters do you have right now? And
Me
how many of
personally?
your own? Yes, you.
I have. How many are in my house? Well, how many are in my house?
yes.
Okay, there are 7 in my house right now. But technically, I have 8, possibly 9. I loaned one of the wrappers out. It used to be.
For a concert.
Oh no! You know what? I think the big white one was Eminem, and I think the little one was Dre.
I'd have to
Whatever,
look
it doesn't
at-
matter. The little super teeny tiny one, the little super tabby, short-haired tabby who sucked on everybody.
Yes.
I loaned him to Karen, my friend Karen,
Oh,
who
sure,
fosters for
Karen,
us,
yeah.
because she has a kitten that Esther found that Esther had been bottle feeding. So we moved that kitten to Karen, and then she got it tested, and it's so small it needs friends. And I went, well, I don't have room in my house to take it. She wanted to hang on to it for a little bit longer because she takes the kittens to work with her, and her office was having fun. And I was like, well, same size who's tested as mine, so I might as well loan you one, and then, you know, in a couple weeks I'm gonna get them back.
Lending life.
So I have 7 in my house, but I'm gonna have 9. And I have 6. I'm sorry, I have 6 because there were 10. I loaned one out, so I have 6
You're counting
in my
my
house.
boy Torta.
Yeah, so there are 6 in my house because I have the 3 babies.
Yeah.
Torta, Sycamore, whose adoption
Sycamore.
They got a different kitten instead. I'm super surprised by
she
that.
was a beautiful one of the trees. It was aspen. And
Yeah, he's
sycamore and all
the
that.
little Maine Coon one. Whatever, they're missing out on a perfect cat. Fine. You don't deserve him. It was crazy because they literally stayed there for like an hour. He was sleeping in their arms. They were totally all over him. They wanted him. It was like just gonna be a couple days because he's a cryptorchid, so I have to still get him neutered. He has a undescended testicle, so I made an appointment for today.
Wait, Sycamore was with Torta Saturday.
Yes. When they're
and then couple them.
I know.
Oh, that's
They got a different kitten in like 2 days.
Oh,
Believe it or not, it happens. You know what? They don't deserve it.
But you know what?
They don't deserve
The
it.
couple, pardon me, this is business. The other couple who loved Torta and took your card
Yeah.
said they were going to call you or come back Saturday, and they
Yeah.
hoped he was here, and they loved the Sycamore. And
Yeah.
I
So
said,
he's gonna be available. So.
are they both going to be there?
They are both going to be there. I have
some.
someone who's supposed to be coming to see Torta. She was supposed to come last week, but emailed me at like 10 something and said she couldn't make it, which is totally fine. And she said if he's still available after, let me know. She was like very understanding about it.
But this couple looked at
so she's supposed to come this Saturday as well. So
Oh, be a
hopefully
lot of
that'll
business
happen.
going on.
She has a 5-month-old who needs a friend.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay, so any
But yeah, so I have
words
and then I
about the
have
foster?
and then I have Ilaria. So I have 6. Ilaria is my fluffy tortie.
Okay.
And then you asked me how many I have. I have 3 cats of my own. I have my original cat who
Cynthia's
started all of it.
hotel. Yeah.
And then Gabriel I adopted from Sandra while I was a foster, but he was not a foster, so I took him specifically to adopt him. So he's not a foster fail. And then I foster failed on my
See?
girl. I did. It took me 6 years. 6 years though.
It's not so bad. So,
And she's a medical case, so.
any parting words you can just give everybody about the foster program, and if there are people in the area, please, who are interested.
Yeah. Obviously we need lots and lots of fosters. We have a lot of different options within our foster program, such as taking cats for just a few weeks to get them ready for transport and sending them, juggling some of our mom cats and stuff. We actually have, just so you guys all know, we have a mom and babies already for this room. They are in the ISO because we decided just go ahead and grab them, even though this room is not actually empty yet. We're gonna make it happen. So all of these guys are gonna be leaving Wednesday, so tomorrow. We are working on transport now.
Are you letting
I am letting them know.
this?
They are leaving tomorrow. They are going to go to the Northridge PetSmart.
Is Mama going with them?
Mama's gonna go with them.
Okay.
We got her rabies certificate yesterday because she got rabies at the shelter, and so we just had to actually get it. So they're all good to go and hopefully get adopted. Typically at Northridge, they'll get adopted within the first 2-3 weeks, and if they
Do they
don't
have
get
a big
adopted,
double
yeah, they're
enclosure
gonna
for
have
them?
it's like the West LA one. They're gonna
Okay.
get the big double suite, and
Okay.
then actually at Northridge, the store will let them out to play during the day in that back room, so
Yes.
they get a lot more out time than any of our other enclosures.
See, folks didn't know this, and now,
Yeah.
if they didn't hear it, I will post it again several
Yes.
times.
Yeah.
Do you know what time they're going to leave?
I don't. We're planning to get them over there between 2 and 3, so
Who's
probably.
doing it? You?
I don't know yet. Josh
Okay.
is going to post for transport. I have 2 fosters who know intake and cleaning and everything there. One of them, Sydney, is taking the 4 that are there right now: Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, Snape, and Cappuccino. So she's going to take them to her house for 1-2 weeks, however long, for the transport, get them ready. So these guys are going to take their place. So they're going to meet
Okay,
them there, and
you
then
have heard it here.
probably on Thursdays when they're actually going to clean the room because
Yes.
we're training Diana, and so we want her
And
to,
people haven't
to be able
actually
to see it.
met Diana or heard about her,
yeah.
so it's
surprise!
it's an
I'm spoiling things.
No, who's supposed to announce that?
I don't know. Ben sent an email to the group the other day. So
Oh, I know, everybody
some point.
knows it, but,
everybody knows, but nobody knows.
well, correct. But there
yeah.
is a new manager.
Yeah, she's in training
lovely.
right now.
We've met her. Her name
I just
is
met her today.
Diana, and
Yeah,
you'll
so
be meeting her
so
hopefully
she's-
soon.
And this actually works out well because she'll get to see the whole turnover of the room.
Exactly.
But we made the decision to just go ahead and grab the mom and babies because there was a good family to grab. It's mom and 6. They're about 3 to 4 weeks old, so they're a little cramped in the ISO, but it'll be fine for a couple days. I mean, it's the same size they get at the shelter, so.
Exactly.
For them, it's like no different, except they get better food here and way more attention. So it's actually way better.
I know.
And I think there are a bunch of gray ones too.
I'll have
I think
to
it's gray and tabby. I'll have to
maybe-
look.
I won't.
I don't even know.
Take some pictures.
I don't even ask.
preview.
That's
Yeah.
another thing I get asked. People ask, like, how do I pick the cats from the shelter? Like, half the time when I'm like, oh, we're getting this, and they're like, what do they look like? I'm like, I didn't ask. I don't care. Is sort of the bottom line.
Well-
I have gotten calls from Veronica at East Valley saying we've got, this litter of 3 black kittens and no one will take them because they're black. Do you guys have any room? And I'm like, sure. I don't care what they look like. They're.
Well, whoever picked, I'm
Yeah.
putting in a plug for my little girl,
I
Kelsey.
pick everything. Everything.
Kelsey.
I do probably 95% of the intake at this
Diane
point.
said
so,
she might be
yeah.
interested in fostering her down the road, and I went,
That would be awesome.
oh, it's like a
Yeah.
mama. But
Kelsey was, Sandra was at the shelter picking up. What
yeah,
was she picking up?
the mom and the babies.
Yeah,
The
she was
other
picking
mom.
up, the pampered mom. She was picking up them and running 3 bottle babies through the shelter, and they were like, there's this one, and so she called me, and I said, let me check with Lindsay if we've got the space, and Lindsay said, sure, and I went, okay, grab it.
And she came in,
Give
and
it.
she came out of her carrier on the floor, and I went, oh my God.
So
And
cute,
they
so
said,
small.
what's her name? And I said,
Yeah.
Kelsey.
Just pick one.
And she's now, she's in the main room. I already had her out with me
Yep.
today and
Yeah.
everything. So, oh my goodness. we're gonna have
it's
to-
very much just whenever we have space for whatever age range, I call the shelter and say, what's the largest group you have of this size? Or if it's, we've been looking for weaned kittens now that we're trying to do some turnover. And I know for those suites in the ISO room, really for older kittens, it's 2 max. So I'm like, do you have any litters of 2? And actually they had 2s and 1. So I'm like,
Wow.
oh, perfect, I'll take a litter,
Perfect.
just something. They said 3 weeks, it turned out to be 6 weeks. Whatever. Who cares?
Well,
But yeah, these ones are really cute, but it's very much just whatever's next in line, the second we have space.
so you guys, you've had all kinds of news flashes here. Whether or not we were supposed to say
You check.
anything, we
Oh,
did.
well. Nobody
And-
told me not to say, so.
Well,
there you go.
heck.
I'm gonna check to make sure.
Oh,
there's no
James,
questions.
I've got a text question coming here. Oh, let me see if I can get it up.
Questions? I'm just kidding. They're already posting. Family's leaving.
Okay,
Yes, they are.
here's somebody. This is Jamie's who took Pearl. One I lives.
Yep.
She lives 3 hours from Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can do as living there? I hope you mean like, could she come in and maybe help with this cat adoption? Jamie, you need to clarify, but is there anything she can do if you live way outside of Portland? Like spread the word maybe about a cat adoption team?
Just spread the word, I think. I mean, unless you can go in and volunteer, but 3 hours away is probably too far.
She can, I don't think she can.
Yeah,
That's Jamie, you want to go
that's
on
a
the
long,
weekend?
That's a long way to go. I mean, cat adoption team is awesome. I mean, they have a good volunteer network. They do a lot of placements. They do take returns, but they also have a shelter environment where they said in some cases if their cats show up in the shelters, what they do is they watch them and they'll work with that shelter to get them adopted out again because they don't have this environment where within a few days they're going to be killed. And they said if there's ever a case where any of their cats are in danger in the shelter, then they absolutely will pick them up.
Good.
But they said most of the time, in the rare case their cats do show up there, they're going to get adopted to good homes, and they just partner with the shelter, and they they post them on their site, and they say if you're looking, this is where they are, and they all get adopted. So they do take them back, but they have a very honestly, if we lived in that sort of place where you could have cats at the shelter and not have to worry, and they're going to get adopted, and they'll be safe, and it'll be a good home, that's a totally different scenario. Here, if our cats show up at the shelter, they're taking up space that another cat can take because they're coming in droves, like literally hundreds a day. And within a few days, they could be killed. It's very, very different. And up there, it's kind of like that in the kitten season, which is why they just do local rescue.
Yeah.
But especially off season, they'll have space. They've had cats that have been at the shelters for months. months and months and months, and it's just, and they're like, yeah, it's totally fine. They're healthy. They're fine.
That's great.
You know, they've got enrichment, and it's a very different environment. And that's not to say all the shelters up there are perfect or great. You know, they do have kill shelters. They are kill shelters. Most city or county shelters are kill shelters in any state. But they work with them and they watch them. So as they said, if their cat's ever in danger, absolutely they take them immediately.
Wow.
And that gives that safety net. And we have said as Kitten Rescue that if any of our cats get returned and they can't take them, we will take them back.
That's what someone asked.
It's not that we don't want them back, but we will take them. Even though it's not our placement or anything. They're still our cats at the end of the day.
Of course they are. We have to have our farewell party.
Yep.
Hey,
Here, let me check.
you look.
Check this.
I know that when you leave, they will hold you up, but just in case, and I know the cam is kind of focused on. Whoa, you're going. Yes, I know. Oh, you guys. Oh, you're gonna go too, sweetheart. Yes, you are. And somebody's up there.
Hi, Praline.
Oh, Praline's on there.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I got to see her very briefly at the fur ball, and then when I had Morgan here.
Oh, that's right. Will you see if there are any questions?
Kind of running around a little
I'm
crazy.
standing up for a minute because we're almost done, but I have to see.
I think that was it. I mean, if anyone has questions,
If you do have questions, either text me, email me, or email Cynthia.
Yeah, my email is foster@kittenrescue.org. So you can always email me there. I may or may not have an answer, but I certainly can try.
She always has an answer.
You guys.
I'm taking a picture of everybody.
Yeah, I pretty much handle all the traffic control of the flow in and the flow out. Honestly, it feels like that sometimes. It feels like traffic. And like I answer my phone, I'm like, Grand Central Station, how can I help you? I've been going all day. It's like this juggle. You know, yesterday Esther's trying to take the day off, and I'm calling and I'm like, can we move these here and then this one over there and then we can do this so I can grab that and then we can put this there and then we gotta fill this, we'll put this one over here and then that opens space for this to come back here so that one can go there, and it's like, wait, what are you
following that?
Yeah, like I'm like, my brain is on the floor, it's melting.
She's a wonderful person, but I will tell you one thing, and then one of your fosters, a certain Jake, has been videoed
my baby
opening every drawer in my house.
That's hysterical.
Taking things out. He's just awful.
He learned that from Dean. Dean opens closets. It's really annoying. He picks at the door and he opens them.
Well, and Zoe, of course, Miss Lovely. She's just such a wonderful girl. And you saw my house. If I could take a fourth one, I would take Kelsey, but you know my house.
Nope. 3's good.
3 is good, and because Charlie.
10 is too many. I like 8. They're really small right now, so it's not so bad.
See, that's what someone said.
But I'm like,
Kelsey, she's small.
Well, they get bigger.
Yes, we do.
The reason I can do as many fosters as I do is because I do work from home, which makes it just microscopically easier. But at the same time, I work from home. It's really hard to work from home when you've got that many kittens running around and trying to eat all your cords and climb on your head and run the keyboard.
I bet it is. Goodbye, my little babies. I won't be here tomorrow.
They're so cute.
Bye,
Yeah,
Mama.
We're gonna send them to Northridge, see if we can't get them adopted because they're busy.
Everybody
and
lives-
hopefully we'll have someone come look at them. So, but the plan is to move them one way or the other. But
Everybody who lives out in the valley, get over to Northridge.
Send your
PetSmart, or is it
friends.
Petco?
it's PetSmart. It's on Nordoff Street.
On Nordorf. You know where that
it's
is,
this
you
weird
valley
like
guys.
curve where the street splits. It's right in the little center there.
Okay.
Kind of an odd location,
Goodbye,
but we do get
Mama.
some really good adopters.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Cynthia, once again.
Oops.